Kelly, Stu from Body Fit Solutions. Going to look at standing posture and also a split stance kind of posture, which is great for your gait movement and to give you more feedback in your core and your balance. Okay, so Kelly, if you just stand sideways for me, please. So generally what we look at when we look at standing posture, it's very straightforward. We look at joint stacking, okay? So we look from the ground up, we look at Kelly's malleolus, the middle part of her ankle. In an ideal situation, if I bring this little stick here, if you just move your arms forward, Cal. If I join the alignment up from the ankle, okay, next joint is the knee, and then we look at the hip, and then we look at the ribs up to the shoulder. So if we look at Kelly there, without Kelly trying too hard, generally what we find if I bring that stick vertically, is in the anterior shift of the pelvis. So notice Kelly stands, this is where a lot of you will be at. Will be anteriorly shifted, which therefore means that a lot of the local muscles at the back lines of the body are not really going to work very effectively. Kelly's taking a lot of pressure and a lot of compression in our lower back here, the lumbar spine. So a nice little cue to bring that back is shift the weight back from the hips. So there we can see instantly, right? We're looking at more ankle to knee in a vertical stance. Now that might challenge some of you to get there. I've trained people where they almost fall backwards, or ultimately their body will hinge forward to kind of achieve this joint stacking with the legs. Okay? So in your own time, I need to have a look at that. Stand next to a mirror, check sideways on, check next when if you're naked out of the shower, check how your natural stance is and see how hard or challenging it is for you to attain more of a joint stacking. So there, Cal, she's working a little bit extra to get that. Okay, so we look from the hips above this. Okay, so a lot of us are stuck in this flex kind of posture, shoulders rounded. Yeah, that looks nice. Shoulders rounded, a bit kind of messed up here, hips forward. So which takes a lot of crushing on the joints and less muscle usage. So a couple of cues to really help you bring some elongation to the torso. Kel's going to do these cues at the same time, guys. Don't get a misconstrued at the same time. I'm going to gently draw the navel in and elevate and open the rib cage. Oh, the shoulders, with that said, the shoulders will lift slightly up and a subtle bit of retraction in the shoulder blades. Okay, so now we look at Kelly now. If I give her a little nudge there, she's going to be more stable, more balanced than if just going back to a poo relaxed posture, little nudge. Yes, we're all floppy noodles with that. So that's standing posture in a nutshell. For you to attain better quality with that, I would suggest that the myofascial release is key in a foundation sense, because if the muscles are tight and they're pulling your bones into a position, it's going to be uber hard for you to try and just adapt to that standing posture, that joint stacking, without some myofascial release first, okay?
Absolutely. So a lot of the time if we're in this posture, the hips can be quite tight. As Stu said, the lumbar spine is a little bit compressed, and when we do those releasings, then we can get the weight of the pelvis back. Also a little bit in the calves probably will affect. So if we can get the joint stacking there with the pelvis, and also feeling this feeling of space going up the spine. So at every joint, if we're compressed, we're putting load on the joints like this. So when we get the pelvis back in a line as Stu did with the pole, then can we think about space in the ankle joint, the knee joint, the hip joint, the spinal column, have that navel retracted in, chest expanding, and we should start to feel a little bit taller. And it feels a little bit awkward at first when we first learned it. It was quite a challenge to sustain it. It was actually quite fatiguing, but over time, the more you practice it, then it starts to become more natural.
Absolutely. And the upsell of all of this, besides having better posture, you will burn more calories even resting. You'll notice your walking will become a little bit quicker. You'll feel more connected to your muscles in your body. Okay, this takes us into our next bit. Okay, so it's all fair and well to be standing, but our actual bodies, we do move a lot, okay? So what I want you to do is just take a little step forward with your right foot. Okay, so we're going from the standing posture, okay, which needs a lot of thought and energy. Take a step forward with your right foot and just pause. Okay, now from here I want you to bring your back heel up off the ground, okay, and just have a little glance down at your legs now. In an ideal situation, if I bring this pole in front of Kelly and I place it just above the knee on her right leg, I want to have that pole or both kind of lower thighs touching that pole. Okay, so if you can imagine I brought a little skewer through the outside of Kel's leg, that skewer would go through the middle of the knee and it would apply the same on the back leg. Okay, so on a very soft bending in the front leg, Kel. So everything's pointing forward. You can see both feet pointing forward. So this one where Kelly is now, it's a little freeze frame of your walking, let's say. Okay? So as we take a right foot forward, the left foot is the heel is gonna lift. Now, so what we need to do is to try and to potentiate some work in the glutes, right? Your bum and your hamstrings of your front leg. So what we need to do from here is keep your body nice and still. So it's nice to maybe look into a mirror while you do this one, because you can see everything that's going on. Kelly's going to do what we call a heel drag with the right leg, which means very gently pressing the floor with your right foot. And we're pulling the foot back, but there's some there's like a grip, so that there's like a stopping point. We're not actually sliding the foot back, we're creating pressure, we're pulling the back to create some tension, which therefore should start to tighten up the hamstring and the glute of the front leg, okay? Have a little breathe there, because it's quite a lot of work involved with this.
And what often happens when you first do it is the knee will want to press back.
Yes.
So we want to think about the shin going down before you get that heel drag, and that can happen. Also the feet feeling really spread out. So we suggest doing this with bare feet, not with trainers on, so you can really feel your feet on the floor. And the other thing that people will do is be still in that standing posture. So it's really important you get the standing posture, then you go into this split stance.
Yeah, especially from the core, the retraction, the rib cage. We're lifted, we're upright, we're balanced, we're stable. Again, some solidness there. So that heel drag creates the tension. It's a sticking point. Okay, so we're not going to pull it back. Okay. So now I want you to go back to that leg out. We're going to send the energy more into the right leg. So I want you to give 80% of that effort pulling the right foot back, 20% pushing the left foot forward. And with that said, as you do that, look at your body. You want to try and keep everything parallel. Okay, so as I'm pulling the floor back, try not to twist the hips, try not to arch the back, push the hips. There's lots of things that can go wrong. So you keep your body completely still, lift through. And this moment right now is going to send signals to the hamstrings of the front leg. So whenever you take a walking step, and you step the foot forward, we move forward, we're pulling the floor back potentially to light up these muscles to take the next steps. That's actually how we should be walking. We take a step forward, pulling the floor back to access the next step. However, as we said when we're doing standing posture, if your pelvis is anteriorly shifted and we've got posture here and we're walking like this, like we see around town, there's going to be no muscle usage there, and it's going to be very heavily based on kind of crushing the joints in the back. Okay, we'll try a little bit on the left side. Just notice yourself if you feel any different. Strength is in positioning, so don't just rush through this. Let's look at that position Cal's got there. And if you have someone nearby you that can do this, this is a little challenge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come into the front. We can align the posture. What I'm going to do, I'm going to place my hand behind Kelly's left hamstring and place my other hand onto a right thigh. And I'm going to pull her front leg towards me. I'm going to push her back leg away. And all of a sudden, that creates some more tension, creates some really work extra on that heel drag. And I can feel that hamstring starting to tighten up. And Kelly's my right back and have a little touch up and feel it up. So then we've got glutes and hamstrings working. Okay? So that when that gets familiar, every time you take that walking step, we're going to be burning more calories, we're going to be achieving more functional movements through the body. So it's a win-win situation. You'll actually have a workout by just living. Awesome.